Good afternoon, guys, and happy Thursday to all of your sunshiny faces. So guys, I should have a Meijer haul for you guys tomorrow. I have the list done. Me and my mom, actually, she needs to go run over somewhere tomorrow, so when she does that, we're gonna go to Meijer. But we weren't able to go today because I was telling you guys how she had a doctor's appointment my dad was actually home for, and he was taking her to because and then yesterday also because my grandpa was having that I don't know what to call it, like a ceremony or like an awards ceremony, something like that, kind of thing, where he was getting presented that quilt. Like, they were presenting quilts for the veterans. My grandpa was one of them at their like county fair. And so yeah, it didn't actually go super late. I think it was around like 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30, but it's like almost a 2-hour drive for us, so we didn't get home until I think sometime after 10 o'clock last night. So obviously my dad probably wouldn't have been able to go anyway had he not taken off work for today because of my mom's her doctor's appointment that my dad had to drive her to. So but like I said, it all kind of worked out that way, that you know, that happened. And I was telling you guys too that it worked out well, because although today and yesterday were so unbearably hot, it's funny, today felt a little breezier and it didn't feel quite as humid, so it felt a little bit better than yesterday, but it was still really bad outside. I only walked to the car today, and then I walked from the car into the high school because I had to go to the high school today because I am doing the football, the end zone film. I'm filming it, and so I will need to, I was going there today to find out like how to use it, which like they were like, you know, you don't even have to set anything up or take anything down. All I needed to know was basically how to use the joysticks and zoom in and zoom out. I realized I probably just could have probably learned it tomorrow, like at the football game when it was actually up and everything like that too, and I probably had the opportunity to actually test it out. But you know, so, and I can probably still do that and just make sure that I know, like, you know, again, how to do it. So anyways, long story short, I went over there today for, like I said, something that I probably could have saved until tomorrow, but then I wouldn't have had to have left the house today, and I wouldn't have to have known how hot it was out for a second day in a row. But because of that though, I was telling you guys that their football practice that my dad and Jack are coaching, it got moved to, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I think I keep saying 5 o'clock. I think that's around the time they're getting up, is about 5 o'clock, but I don't think it starts until about maybe 6 or something like that. And then they had practice, so then after that they like have school and classes and stuff like that. But then Jack ended up coming home, then he ended up going to his 2 in-person classes at college. Then he ended up, my parents then got done with my mom's doctor's appointment, ended up picking him up on the way home, and then came home, and then he had his online class that he had to do. And then when he was done with that, I think he said he was going to try and take a nap, but because again too, we got home kind of late last night and they were still up like around, again, 5 or 6 o'clock this morning, so they didn't get probably very much sleep last night either. But he was just kind of tired, so he ended up, I think, like I said, either taking a nap or just kind of relaxing a little bit. Then they had the football dinner, which was inside, so thankfully it was all air conditioned and, you know, all that kind of stuff. They didn't have to worry about anything like that, because again too, they couldn't do football practice on the football field because in the afternoon it's way too hot. Even in the morning, like Jack was saying yesterday, it was still really like humid and kind of warm out even at, you know, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. But again too, it's like, you know, still within temperature of them being able to practice. Now again too, the, you know, like 90, almost 100 degrees, plus not taking into account the humidity and all that kind of stuff, in the afternoons at, you know, about 3 o'clock when they start football practice, then that is, you know, it's too hot, and they weren't allowed to, you know, have the practices the last 2 days. So that's why they ended up having it in the mornings. But the dinner, like I said, they do like a team dinner on Thursday nights before the football game, and those, they, you know, like I said, was inside, so they were able to do that. But they did it, normally they'll have, I think, like an hour maybe of practice, then they do the team dinner after that. So they still did the team dinner like later after, at that point when they were supposed to. instead of directly after school. So I think some of them were doing like lifting, because when I went in there, we went in through like the weight room, and they were like, there was a bunch of kids in there that were all like lifting and stuff like that. So like I said, I think that's what they were doing. And then they just ended up having the and I don't even know too though if those were football kids or if the football coaches were just in the weight room and it was like either the basketball team or like again too somebody was in there. I'm not entirely sure, like I said, who even was in there weightlifting and that kind of stuff. But then after that, like I said, they did have the team dinner following that, and so I didn't cook anything for dinner tonight. Like I was telling you guys too, we've got the football game tomorrow, so I'm gonna try and make dinner like before football practice, or not before football practice, before the game. And the thing is, my dad, because Jack's coaching like the JV game, and I think he's taking down the plays, like what plays they run when, so that they can like correspond it, because I know what they were having trouble with last year was knowing exactly what play was called. So when they go over and watch film, they'd be like, oh, this was supposed to be this. But if like something got screwed up, or again too, you know, they had to kind of do an audible, you know, something like that, they were able to know like possibly what the play was supposed to be, or if it was just a broken play in general, like they wouldn't be able to know what the play was to you know, go back over and look at film. So Jack's supposed to be taking down what play is actually called every time and then write it down, so that then when they go over the film, they can correspond the film with the actual play that was called, in case again too something does wind up happening. Because for the most part, the coach is going to look at the play and be like, oh yeah, that was play XYZ or whatever, you know. But when they go over film and they were like, oh, this kid did this wrong or that wrong, and then they were like, yeah, but was that the play that was called? Like, did that kid do something wrong, or was it the kid next to him that did something wrong, you know, because maybe that wasn't the play that they thought was called or something like that. So either way, it's that's like kind of what Jack's doing. And then he also is like, he coaches the linebackers for the, I think it's the Frost-Off game, which is before the varsity game. And then I'll be there for the varsity game in the end zone doing the film for that. So they don't film, I guess, the JV or like the Frost-Off team. I think it's Frost-Off is what it is, or just freshmen and sophomores. So in versus like they don't have a JV team, that I don't think. So anyways though, like I said, I'll be there tomorrow to do that. But I went there to go and get that done, you know, like I said, just to kind of figure out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing and all of that. And then also too, I got to some laundry today. I did dishes. Actually, I got to pretty much everything today. I edited today, and then I finished my minor list too. So I didn't even realize that was like pretty much normally everything I try and get to like on my list for the day, and I was able to get to it, which is awesome. So like I said, I'm going to take a shower, then get to bed, because I am still a little tired kind of from just, like, I don't know, I'm more sore. I realized my back's kind of sore, I think from sitting in the car. And the weird thing is that whenever I sit in the car, I don't know why I do this, but I tend to sit, instead of just like straight, like, you know, sit right up against the back of the chair, I tend to sit like on an angle, kind of, where like my head, you know, like my upper body will be more towards like the like armrest, and then my legs will be more towards like the door. So I'm like, you know, facing like in an angle, like away, instead of just sitting kind of like flat against like the chair, the back of the chair. And so it always seems to make my back hurt, and it always hurts on one side. And I realized that I don't know why I sit like that in the cars. I sit like that all the time, whether I'm sitting in the front seat or in the back seat, whether it's a long drive or whether it's a short drive. The only way I don't do that is if I actually like pick my legs up and sit like crisscross, like, you know, and like, you know, with my feet up. Other than that, and then I'll sit like, you know, again, correctly, I guess, kind of in the seat. And again too, it's not like super dramatic. I'm not sitting like, you know, completely like, you know, off to one side, but I just noticed I kind of like lean sort of like in there, and then my legs will tend to be like off to the side instead of like straight on. And like I said, I noticed especially on long car rides, I tend to do that. I noticed too when we went to St. Louis, it was really bad. And then for a while, and I was like, oh, my back's really hurting me. And I think that's when I finally realized I sit like that, and I was like, I can't can't like sit like that anymore. So then I think I tried to like recline, and I had my pillow too, because again, we were going all to St. Louis. It was a long drive. So I think that I figured out how to like, you know, again, that I'd sit weird in the cars. And I don't know why, it's really weird too, because like I don't really sit like that like at my desk chair or, you know, like in other places, but for some weird reason in the car I tend to sit like, I don't know, just like diagonally kind of in the seat, and it messes up my back. And so today I was like, my back is sore, and I was like, well, that's because I was sitting all weird. And the ride home though, I did that, and I was like, okay, I feel better, like my back felt better, but I'd already obviously, you know, been sitting wrong the whole almost 2-hour ride to there, and then was sitting in a, you know, sitting in the folding chairs for like an hour and a half for the thing. And then when I came back, I was sitting, like I said, more comfortably in the car, and I also had it reclined too, because I didn't realize our back seats actually recline. I had no clue. Jack did it and was like, oh yeah, didn't you know these seats recline? And I was like, I had no clue. So that was cool. I learned that, and like I said, that made the you know, sitting in the car more comfortable too, because I wasn't like perfectly like straight up or anything. And so I think when I'm able to recline too, obviously I can't like sit diagonally, because I kind of have to sit like straight forward. So that was another thing that I thought was probably like helpful, and also learning that I can do that as well. But like even too, if I'm sitting in the front seat, a lot of times I don't recline that far back either. And so, anyways, I don't know. It's just, I think that, like I said, a lot of sitting yesterday too. My back, my lower back seemed like it was just a little uncomfortable today. So, anyways, though, like I said, I'm going to take a shower now and get to bed, but I will see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, I'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see y'all very soon, Shining Faces tomorrow. So, bye, guys.